Well, yesterday, payments firm Novatti inked a lucrative deal with Afterpay, which made it one of the best performers in yesterday's trade. Now the company is out with a quarterly update, revealing it's already passed its total FY20 sales revenue, with another quarter still to go. To tell us more is CEO Peter Cook, and he joins us now. Peter, thanks so much for joining us. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, that deal with Afterpay when it comes to that New Zealand market. Just tell us how pleased you are with that partnership.
Good afternoon, Ausbiz. Yes, look, it's great to be able to work with Afterpay and leverage some of our licensing and ecosystem for us as a fintech enabling company. In terms of maybe just on results though, the last quarter we did $4.15 million of revenue. In the December quarter, we did $3.79 million. So we're about $300,000 up on our best prior quarter. First time we've done over $4 million. Year-on-year growth for sales revenue was 37%. But more importantly, in what we call our core business, which is financial transaction processing, we're up 77% year-on-year. And I guess the exclamation mark is that's 8 consecutive quarters of growth. And really sets us as a long-term, consistent, sustainable player as a fintech in Australia. Working with Afterpay, it's another agreement where we've recently announced, for instance, companies such as LitPay, LifePay, on top of some of the partnerships we've done with Ripple, Visa, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, and so forth. So a lot of work starting to bear fruit as we monetize with some of these partnerships.
So Peter, as far as your growth strategy is concerned, is it all about international expansion at this point?
Actually both. We're getting really strong growth within Australia, and so we are an issuer on the Visa network, and we're bringing a lot of programs to bear, what they call white label programs, where we issue Visa cards for other fintechs and enterprises. Internationally, we're doing a lot of cross-border work on, say, the Ripple network. We got licensed in New Zealand to be an issuer there, so be able to work with Afterpay there. And actually, we're doing quite a bit of work in Europe as well. So a lot of international work, but very high growth in Australia as well.
Peter, where do you see the opportunities when it comes to emerging markets? Because of course we are all moving now towards the cashless economy.
So historically, Novatti has done a lot of work in emerging markets, and we do have some traditional technology clients of ours in Africa and the Middle East and Asia. I think what we've really seen is that there's been a leapfrogging in many of these countries where they've pretty much gone from cash to mobile payment economies, and have sort of missed that, like that wired terminal in a store type technology. So there's been a leapfrog. Because most of our payment technologies are mobile first and digital, we can serve into developing markets. But right now, most of our growth is in Australia and first world economies.
And just as far as those partnerships, so you've obviously mentioned what you're doing with Afterpay, also Ripple. Have you got more in the works at the moment?
I think that the great thing about being listed is that gives you a level of governance that international parties can see. We've got an AFSL in Australia. We're licensed by Visa. So what's been good is that we can work with international players who see us as a very legitimate high governance company. So we announced about a year ago and are doing a lot of work with a large US company called Marqeta, and that would be an example of an international partnership that's really starting to bear fruit.
And Peter, just finally, you're saying you're obviously doing well in Australia. That's where part of your concentration is clearly at the moment. But how crowded is that space you're operating in at the moment, just as far as competition?
I think the payment space, depending on parts, different parts of it have got different amounts of competitors. We see ourselves as a multi-services service provider. I think that at a couple of general theses. One is that, and COVID's really driven it. We're getting this conversion from cash to a cashless economy. We're getting digital transformation of the financial services sector. But I think the other thing is with respect to payments, and probably a bit related to the Hayne Royal Commission, I think some of the Australian banks are either retreating or maybe not stepping forward to meet some consumer and business needs. So there's plenty of space. Yes, there's competition, but facing into mega markets, and we've got some, very strong service offerings.
Peter, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon with that update. Hopefully we'll catch up with you soon.
Ausbiz, thank you.